Hi, my name is Lena. Welcome to my channel, and today I am doing the Philosopher's Book Tag. I was tagged twice, actually, first by Celia ages ago, and then by Rose from A Journey Through Books. I was a bit intimidated by this tag, but I'll try and do it. Question number 1. Thales is considered the first known philosopher. Which text introduced you to philosophy, or which text would you like to read to get you into philosophy? I am not into philosophy at all. We have lessons at the university I was attending during in the evenings. But at that time I was too young, and I couldn't separate between a person and a subject. I was very opposed to the teacher. I disliked the teacher, who was extremely sexist, and I immediately branded him as stupid, so I wasn't ready to learn from him. I suppose this antipathy that I felt towards the teacher, I started to feel towards the subject. Many years, afterwards, I learned to do it, to separate my feelings towards a human being and towards the knowledge I can actually get from this human being. So it didn't work out between me and philosophy yet. It hasn't worked out yet. But there are two books that should have introduced me to the philosophy and should have got me into philosophy. One is Philosophies of Ancient Greece, and those are Plato, Aristotle, and Epicurus. Sorry, guys. And the next one is Philosophers of Ancient Rome, and those are Titus, Lucretius, Cicero, Seneca, Epictetus, Aurelius. So maybe one day. I also bought philosophical writings of Erasmus. To tell you the truth, the only philosopher I have ever read is probably Soren Kierkegaard. It's his biography. It was by accident I read this book. My aunt gave it to me several years back, maybe 10 years back. I guess it was in vogue in Moscow. And it was quite an interesting biography. The author, sorry guys, I won't be able to find what language it was originally written in, but I guess the author worked with Soren's diaries, and Soren was, I guess, very vague in his diaries, so it turned into some sort of guessing and investigation. It was quite interesting. The author is Peter P. Rond. Sorry, guys. Well, and the only book by him I ever read was it probably can be translated as a diary of womanizer. I will look for the English translation and I will provide a link in the info box. And this book, I read it at a very wrong time, and this book almost crushed me. I have no idea how I would have reacted to it right now. So, I guess we cleared this picture about me and philosophy, but I do want to read Erasmus. I do want to read these works on ancient philosophers of Rome and philosophers of ancient Greece, and I have some ebooks. I just want to read some works of Saint Augustine. Sorry, I bet I'm pronouncing it wrong. There is a bit of a delay. I think my Lenovo, this one. Question number 2. Karl Marx is a political philosopher turning the world upside down with the Communist Manifesto. Which political event or event in history would you like to read more about in fiction? I want to read more about ancient Rome and ancient Greece and probably Alexander the Great. And I actually have, an author I'd like to read more. I haven't read the single story yet, so it's Marie Renaud, and I'd like to start with The Last of the Wine. Jean-Jacques Rousseau highly influenced the Enlightenment, a period which introduced critical thinking to the common people. Which book or author forced you to think more critically? BookTube and BookTubers forced me to think more critically. It wasn't any particular book or any particular author. It was just BookTube and making these videos. Question number 4. Voltaire once said, I do not agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Which is a popular book everyone seemed to love, but you didn't? It happens very rarely to me because I don't read as much contemporary authors as I should. I don't read short list or long list of any prizes. I kind of very careful with my reading. It's not intentional. I just missed a lot of classical literature and well-approved literature. I just wasn't reading it. So far, I haven't encountered such a book. Well, I can say that I don't like the author that is pretty much very famous and part of the canon, I believe. So I tried, but he's not my author. This is not my thing. The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald, Francis Scott Fitzgerald, and Then There Is the Night. But I will give him one more chance. I will read The Beautiful and the Damned. I'll try this one. So, and I was talking about The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton some time back, and I was comparing it to receiving a present, beautifully wrapped. When you unwrapped it, there is another box, and when you open the box and unwrap the present, there is another box, and finally it's a lunchbox. But now I think about it a different way, more like a pond with still water and the ripples which are formed when you chuck a rock into the pond, throw a rock into it. Sorry, guys. So it's quite a chunker. It's almost 800 pages long, and I'm a slow reader, and I finished it in 3 days. I believe it was very exciting. It was very interesting, but you know, when you investigate it ripple by ripple by ripple to the rock itself, you do understand that the rock itself doesn't have to be a diamond. So, but still, I feel kind of cheated. Let's continue. The fifth question. Hannah Arendt, doomed controversial even by her friends, Hannah Arendt did not shy away from telling what she thought was true. Sorry about my reading. Name a book that will leave readers uncomfortable but tells an important story. And I have quite a lot of examples. For example, One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest by Ken Casey. It will make you very uncomfortable. The way these patients are treated, the mentally ill patients are treated, will make you very uncomfortable. But it's a very important story. To Kill the Mockingbird by Harper Lee. It will make you very uncomfortable the way this poor chap was accused, poor colored chap was accused of a crime he physically wasn't able to commit. But it's a very important story, and it's a very good book. Well, my favorite and quite Flows the Dawn. It's a very uncomfortable book, but it tells a very important story. The author is Mikhail Sholokhov. So, the sixth question. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. A wonderful quote from Nietzsche, out of Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Sorry, guys. Which book do you go back to for its beautiful writing? I don't usually do that. It's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't usually do that. Speaking about English author, I would say it's Tolkien and works by Tolkien. And I didn't realize that I like his writing style until I tried to read The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. I might be terribly wrong, but at the time I thought that he was trying to imitate the Tolkien style, and he failed drastically. It was, well, it was horrible, in my opinion. And that's when I started to appreciate Tolkien's style. About Russian author, I think almost every classical writer, for example, Mikhail Sholokhov and his And Quiet Flows the Dawn. But I don't think that I will reread this book ever again because it was extremely uncomfortable and I don't want to relive it once again. For example, Nabokov, his The Defense, or Alexander Kuprin, his The Junkers. Unfortunately, it wasn't translated into English. This book wasn't translated. It's just a novella. It's kind of autobiographical. But the thing is, in this book, his protagonist, Alexei, reads a novella by Leo Tolstoy, The Cossacks, and we are given his first impressions. So it's a recommendation from Kuprin to read the novella by Leo Tolstoy, The Cossacks, which I haven't read yet, but I will definitely do. So any book by Leo Tolstoy, I guess, would do. So I think it's the seventh question. Jean-Paul Sartre raised the question, what is literature? In one of his books. What is good literature for you? It's a very difficult question, and I don't think that I will be able to say it. It's important to me not only to be engaged intellectually by the book. It's very important to me to be engaged emotionally. And the book should have not only engaging characters, very well rounded up, very well developed, very realistic. Not only it should have atmosphere of the time it describes. Not only it should have the story, an engaging, interesting story, it also should have some drama, I guess. Some very uncomfortable but very important question, like in To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm sorry, like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest, like in And Quiet Flows the Dawn by Mikhail Sholokhov. And question number 8, Albert Camus. Which book did you have to keep pushing through because you really wanted to understand its meaning? It's kind of a self-help book. It's Make It Stick, The Science of Successful Learning. This was a torture. I cannot explain why this was a torture. But I really, really wanted to take as much from it as possible. I think it's a lazy man trap. If you want to learn something, you need to invest your time, you need to invest your labor, you need to work hard. There is no shortcut in these things. So, question number 9. Which are the 3 philosophers you would love to sit down and have a chat with? I'm not into philosophy yet. So, I would probably have a chat with Aristotle about Alexander the Great. I would probably have a chat with Erasmus, because I don't think he was opposed to educated women. I think he allowed women to have brains. So I would have a chat with him, probably. And I don't know. I would have a bit of chat with Plato, I think, about his dialogues. I haven't read them yet. I will. But I kind of have a feeling that I won't like them, that I will have a lot of tell to Plato. Well, thank you for watching. Goodbye and happy reading. Oh, I should tag people. Yes, I should tag people. And I have no idea who hasn't done this tag. Um, well, sorry guys. Let's try Mel's Bookland Adventure. Adventures. Let's try Todd the Librarian. Anna, Nastya from the channel Anna BBO3AAV. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and happy reading.